Good evening, America. You've been the messenger of third eye knowledge. Wanted to speak to the country really quickly. I'm tired, forgive me. I'm going to start off with the commentary on my Facebook Live if you want to check it out. I'm going to answer them here because I think the country could benefit from it. How bad is this corruption, and where do you think this is going to go, and blah, 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 blah. And gave me a really good description of where they thought it was going to go. So here it is. We could look at it post-apocalyptic, or we can look at it bringing it down a little bit in forms of policy and what you're going to hear around the spectrum on November 3rd. Number one, this whole Alex Jones thing. That should be taken very seriously. This country, I cannot believe this guy got away with speaking in terms of domestic terrorism, and is now at probably their house or whatever, getting ready to recruit more comrades for November 3rd. But declaring this pandemic over, and with everything that this is just leading this country into, this video, I'm calling out our establishment in Washington. You know, the Republican Party, the Trump administration. I'm asking that y'all in Washington try to be a little more honest. If you're trying to take over the Constitution and your White House in general, in terms of policy and courtship, you're doing a lousy job hiding it. Some of us in the country can see right through what you're doing with your media. And yes, I still stand by, to answer my viewers, not voting. You're only allowing your powers and entities to continue what they're doing. People that have money usually are the ones that are heard by government, power, authority, law, and none of them are stepping up on behalf of the people because, unfortunately, somewhere along the line, a bipartisan government failed. I wasn't around in the 1930s, and I wasn't around when they first found the rock, so I don't know if they were ever really for the people, but if they're leaders of the free world, then they should have a little bit of their government in every country on the planet. They don't. They've said they offered help to other countries. They've staged scenes and shots in other countries throughout modern history where they went over and tried offering their philosophy to their government or whatever the case may be. But again, number one, they're not leaders of the free world. They're completely an entity in which their own entity in which they can't even lead their own people. They never could. They never tried. And if they so-called tried, they do a horrible acting job. Comment number two. Where do you get your information, and how can you say this stuff on a live social media or social media in general? Well, 80% of the country is agreeing with it, number one. And if America, you don't agree with it, every other country that sees my videos, they're trying to point it out. Listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. Wow, you're really on the money. Because now we get to the right-wingers, the Trump supporters. Whether or not you are really arrogant and self-righteous, I truly believe you are. But these are the examples in the working class and poor communities across the country are receiving. Mainly with Amy Coney Barrett. She wasn't supposed to go in that seat. She lied during her confirmation hearings twice. But yet she's in there now, fucking up our world for 30 years, each and every Supreme Court seat. So, how deep is the CARE Act, Affordable Care Act? Okay, the Affordable Care Act at any point is ripped out of policy and legislation. This is going to actually cause a trickle-down effect in the medical care system, and that economy alone, which is a massive entity within itself, will start to decrease and deplete. Doctors, clinicians, nurses, etc., pharmaceutical companies, clinics across the spectrum will start to close down because we can't afford their care. They don't care because their health care is fine. They're elite. And for all we know, with the right-wing militias, this could be staged by the Trump administration. And I'm going to back this up with Trump administration reaches out to select state-level governments in this country, make sure they get the military-grade weapons first, and they start dispensing them. They hand it to the police, in which money is collected by the militia leaders, so they muscle up their arsenal. And then on November 3rd, shots are firing. I say this, America, because they're too happy about it. They don't show enough concern. So, the warning is, I'm hoping that this country takes it seriously. Don't just start throwing comments down in which, because I'm not popular or I don't have a lot of likes and shares and shit like that. Our country's taking a really dark alley, and nobody knows where the light at the end of the tunnel is, or when they're going to reach it. So I suggest you, America, you pull back from those ballots. But number one, for safety, obviously, but to watch it from a distance and make sure your communities are, in check. Make sure all of your doctor's appointments have been met. Make sure you're stocked up on your important medicines. If that proceeds to get any worse in the next 6 weeks, embrace for impact, and don't be afraid to defend your families, your community, and your friends. Make sure you can trust them. Make sure you can talk to them. Most of all, don't sleep. Maintain a level of awareness. And any time from here on out that you're consuming your media, make sure you're consuming it with your conscience. This isn't a fair government anymore, and you lost your country. Your Democrats gave it away. Peace.